I watched the episode and I didn't instantly hate it. I wasn't in love with it, but I was like, you know what? They're just setting the table for the episode to follow. You have to advance the plot. It can't all be sword swinging, and that's what they did. And then I watched all the reviews about it, and everyone was like, Game of Thrones is freaking awful terrible now. I think they forgot some of the set the table episodes before. Some of the time,
I don't think people dislike it because it's a set the table episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even think this was necessarily a set the table episode. They did
No,
move forward with quite a
it's
bit.
all that
Like
shit I said.
you see Miss Sandy die, but like it's
That's
just
what I
that the
think
show
setting-
is
go
so
ahead.
the show is so off the rails that it's like, what? This isn't what any of these characters would be doing. Like all the fan service they're doing, like they're just basically creating woo moments for the crowd where it's like woo, Brienne and fucking Jamie finally got together. Woo!
I wasn't
the
fan
Hound
serviced
is
by
so-
that at all. I was looking for her to be with the redheaded dude. I don't.
Why
do
was-
names
None of
well.
us
that
were.
wasn't-
None of us were because we've been watching for a while and we kind of know and we've all read the books, and so we kind of know the way it would go and we know how to anticipate it. If you're just a show watcher, like.
I've seen her
Even
naked.
the show watchers aren't liking it. I take that back. Even the show watchers are starting to come around and be like, "No, this just isn't very good anymore. I don't like it."
What's better? What's the better show than Game of Thrones on? This is sweep seasons. It's everyone's doing their best stuff. I think it's still the best show on TV.
Those two Indonesian guys that build mud huts on YouTube, that's a better show.
Touche.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
They make fish ponds, they make hot tubs, they make they'll like fry
Who
up.
was
And
the
the
original
funniest
guy?
thing about those guys,
I think
is that
Viking- I think the
they
last
live in
season
the
of
woods,
Vikings-
but they still use Photoshop in their thumbnails. It'll be like, "Oh, we are going to cook a steak on a hot rock." And then, like, the thumbnail will be a giant-ass porterhouse on there, and then you click on the video. I did this literally last night.
I think the
and
last season of
it's just a
Vikings was
tiny
better.
little strip.
I think the last season of Vikings was better than this season of Game of Thrones has been so far. I mean, granted, we're only like 4 episodes in, but it's only 6 episodes long.
You've seen 2/3 of it.
Yeah, I've seen.
I've seen enough to know I'm not going to enjoy how this is going to
I'm
go
not gonna
down
enjoy
with
it.
Lost and Sopranos
No,
for one of the
no.
worst kind of
Oh,
ends. to the
Sopranos.
series.
Gets, no. Sopranos,
But you talk
that
about
doesn't have-
Sopranos,
I've
Taylor.
never finished either of those series. I'm only coming from the what.
All right, well, you're wrong
the-
about that.
the
It's
ethos,
Lost
the
and
zeitgeist
Dexter.
seems to
Lost
believe.
and Dexter. Those are the bad endings.
You're right. I did watch.
People
Dexter.
were shocked by the Sopranos ending and left a bit unfulfilled, but you couldn't hate it because it was nothingness. It was a suggestion of what has happened. And it harkened back to Tony's own words when he's in a boat with Bobby Bacala and they're talking about what it's like to die. And he's like, I think maybe it just all goes black. An assassin walked into the fucking diner, shot Tony, and it just went black because Tony was our eyes and ears and mouth in this world that is the Sopranos universe. I didn't love the ending, but I don't hate the ending.
Okay,
It's
hearing
just
that explanation, that actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
it-
I
it's
thought it
fun.
was good. I don't-
Dexter, remember Dexter carrying his dead sister out of the fucking hospital and crying like a
Like a
bitch?
guy who's not a serial killer.
Like a guy's
Yeah,
not a
like-
I thought the
sociopath.
Dexter ending was okay, and most people really hated it.
You and the writers of Dexter.
I thought the Sopranos ending was good. I thought the Lost ending was so terribly horrific. I'm still a little mad about it.
I'm mad. at
Isn't
Lost.
that I never watched Lost, but I had a friend who was super into it at the time, and he was like, "So the polar bears that live on the island and the smoke ghost and all these things just happen and there's no explanation." That's what I kind of feel
That's
like
what they did for you.
Game of Thrones is.
Okay.
It's like, oh, Azor Ahai, that's just nothing now. Oh, that battle that was like long prophesied between the Night King and well, I mean, it wasn't prophesied, but it was kind of led towards in the show between Jon and the Night King.
John and the
Oh,
Night
all
King
of our
have been
favorite,
giving
like,
each other,
5 fighters.
one day I'm going to kick your ass looks for 3
You know
years
what's
now.
really dumb is they gave like 5 fighters on the team that we were rooting for Valyrian steel swords, and as soon as you see all of the Night Walkers or the White Walkers, you're like, oh, it's finally going to go down. They finally have a weapon that can compete. They're going to get in a big 5-on-5 brawl with the White Walkers with their now Valyrian steel swords. You got all of them in there. Nope, none of that happened.
Can
All
I
of
give
that
you a
was
better
nothing.
ending to this show than what we got? Like just off the top of my head, you get what Taylor just said, right? You get like, I'm not even going to name them, our 5 favorite guys. It could be different for everyone. Our 5 favorites, the ones with the Valyrian steel, they face off against the 5 or 6 of the White Walkers, right? And in like single combat, it's a big battle. They're all fighting, and we we're winning a little bit, and then the Night King really starts going ham, and he starts killing our favorite characters. And then like Jon Snow is really going ham. He's killing most of the White Walkers, and it's gotten down to like a 3v2, and it's like Jon and fucking name your other favorite guy.
Redhead.
And then the Night King raises up our heroes. Our favorite heroes are risen up. And the sad music comes on. The music that comes on when all hope is lost. And they all get cut down as the camera rises into the sky. You don't see Jon Snow get stabbed in his face and blood. The camera just goes straight up, looking straight down, and you see the swords fall upon Jon Snow. And then at the end, all of our heroes are White Walkers, and they're descending on Cersei. And Cersei meets a horrific ending at the hands of our heroes, who are now White Walkers. Give me that. Give me the Night King sitting on the throne.
That's how you wrap it. Bad guys win.
That's how I wrap it. Bad guys win. I wouldn't have loved that, but I would have respected it. Just the same way I didn't love Sopranos ending, but I respected it. What we're getting now is this fan service shit. That's not only fan service, it's also not within the rules that you set for us, Game of Thrones. I say this time and time again about every sci-fi fantasy, name a show. You set the rules, and I will follow them, but you better follow them too. I'll believe your rules, but you cannot break your own rules without a massive explanation for why the rules are being broken.
I can't get on board with a lot of the complaining I've been hearing. I'm mostly because I watch all these YouTube videos about it. And a lot of people are complaining about the talking in front of the castle. Cersei is so evil. She's shown a proficiency at killing people and a lack of remorse over it. They would have wiped out Dany. She was within range, etc. And I'm like, really? You are complaining that she's 100 yards too close? That's your big problem with the show? Maybe you're complaining too much about little things.
I didn't say that one, but I had thought about that one when I watched it. That's absolutely what would have happened.
Weren't there those ballistas on the walls in
that absolutely.
Scene
walls are
like, well, apparently these things are fucking laser beams, so just aim it and just
what would have happened in an earlier scene, like if you remember how Cersei took power from Ned Stark, how she conspired with with a third party, and then there was an ambush just when Ned Stark thought he was getting the upper hand. It was like, no, Lord Stark, and the guy, he puts his hand on him, and like it's game over, and it's like no, like as like our heroes are all being cut down, and all of Ned Stark's family guard are being chopped to bits, and they're taking him away. That's what would have happened right there. She showed up with, I'm going to guesstimate 50 men, and that's being generous. All right, 50 fucking men. You could have sent the peasants of King's Landing out. She could have been like, peasants of King's Landing, a chest of gold to the man who brings me the head of Daenerys Stormborn, and open those fucking gates, and it would have been GG.
I've seen more people in line in the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A than her army.
Breakfast, forget about it.
Like 65 people.
Those chick minis are delicious.
Oh, those chick minis are so good. That, I saw something on Twitter where they were like, Chick-fil-A is now the third biggest fast food chain in America. I can't wait until it's number one, because then it's going to be as popular as Subway. There's going to be a Chick-fil-A everywhere. None of them are going to be crowded. Or maybe all of them will be crowded.
I'd be okay with that. All right, but back to that. Why didn't she just start firing all the ballistas trained on the dragon? Fire. Why is there not all of her cavalry in the woods that don't exist now because we can't afford woods?
I feel like people are watching with a more critical eye than they used to. People didn't say, why didn't Ned leave earlier? Why did Ned go to King's Landing? Why did this happen? Why did that happen?
Because
why wasn't Arya clever enough to do this or that other thing? Why did she stay?
All those questions.
No, she made mistakes along the way.
Man. Because Ned was very honorable, and this is his best friend, and they had a long conversation, Robert and Ned, about how
there was a lot more development back then of why these seemingly stupid decisions were made. Something I could see is that if that fat fuck ever releases the books, that this exact same thing happens, but there's like 200 pages of explanation of why it happens.
He will have hindsight. He'll have heard of all this complaining, and
he's going to give us a good ending. He's going to, if he writes the books. Let me just preface with that.
No, what he said, you said he's writing. He's got like thousands of manuscript pages, right?
Who said that?
He's very deep in. You said he's very deep in.
I accused him of getting laid, which I'm sure is inaccurate.
Well, that's even more egregious.
What do you mean you can't find it?
You have to push the sides of the fat down. It'll pop out.
Dude, In my head, here's one thing that I will agree with the complainers on. I feel like the pacing isn't right. You know, like what had got done in previous years, right? Like we had a whole season and all there was Battle of the Bastards. In this year, there's going to be 6 episodes with 2 battles on that scale. In previous years, we might go a year and not that much happened. And now they've taken 4 years, crunched it into 6 episodes. It's a little tight.
I think it's three seasons crunched into 6 episodes. I think
I'll
that'd
take
be
that.
fair to say.
Yeah.
It really is. And all those missed episodes, let's call them, 30 minus 6 is fucking 24. Those 24 episodes that we didn't get, that's all the stuff that all three of us could agree that we love and we need. I need the minutia. This is a slow paced show. God damn it! This isn't like an action movie. Not necessarily it's a drama.
It should be like a 6-to-1 setting the stage episodes to like conflict.
I need the build up. You know, one of the reasons that I enjoyed the scene where Arya had her little sword fight with Brienne in the courtyard of Winterfell so much was you spent 6 years showing me her train. You showed me 6 years of this little girl becoming a bad motherfucker, being trained by the Hound and Sirio Farrell, the Fersor de Bravos. And then you showed me going and becoming a faceless man and being trained by the Waif and Jack and Hagar. You showed me her killing one of the King's Guard who was a pedophile in a brutal fucking fashion. You showed me her first kill when she stabbed that fat boy. You showed me her second and third or fourth kill or whatever when she's fighting with the Hound over the chick. You really want to die over some chicken? Someone is.
Yeah.
Like you showed me though. By the way, where does that writing come in nowadays? When was the last time you had a moment like that, like the Hound saying, "Someone's gonna die over some fucking chicken. I'm gonna eat every fucking chicken in this place." He had like 3 one-liners in 5 minutes, and every time he says one, you're getting harder. You're just getting harder the whole time.
Those
like,
weren't even the best lines. Those were great lines, but when Arya, I think repeated the words that he gave to her as she killed him, I think that's how it went down.
Yes.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. I love that.
His one-liner, the Hound's one-liner in this episode was a prostitute getting too close to him and him going, "Gah!" And I was like,
"Are you hurt, boy?" like when she's slowly murdering that man who killed her friend, years before. Look, we're probably about done with Game of Thrones talk about. To be fair.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat people over the head with it. By the way,
so what's all of our 10 our 10 ratings out of 10 ratings?
The last episode,
this most recent episode, I'm going to give it the exact same rating I think I gave the previous one, which is a 5 out of 10.
All right, so my scale is on the scale of Game of Thrones episodes, not on the scale of entertainment in general, because Game of Thrones has a high bar.
Yeah,
I give it a 3.
Wow.
I've got 7 in my head. I don't know if I want to go that high. Is it a better than average Game of Thrones episode? I just don't think it was as bad as people are saying it is. I'll go 6. Everyone's saying it's awful. And I'm like, no, this is just a Between the Battles episode where they kind of
the crossbow thing doesn't bother you
how
at
they
all.
got there. The reloading crossbow thing.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a piece of minutia that I can overlook.
Even though
that is a little bit of minutia that I can overlook because it's also understood that they both know Bronn. He's got his little curved dagger behind him, and Jaime's got one hand. So if Bronn wanted to, he could beat the shit out of both of them with his bare hands. Probably.
I hated that scene so much.
I liked the dragon dying.
I liked the dragon dying, just not how it died. I don't know how many times I got
the dragon to die.
Okay, fair enough.
In a realistic way that's been set up by the show.
Oh, you just needed some.
Have Euron come out with that fucking dragon horn? If Euron had go Haru, and the dragon had just go ah, and like you know how the brown note makes you shit yourself. Like if he'd gone Haru, and just the dragon starts,
and then
shitting.
The dragon shits itself.
Let me lay this out.
Shitting oceans of green shit all over the crew of its own, the friendly vessels, and dragon shit. No one knew this. Acidic, and they're all screaming, and their faces are melting off like that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Not the
Danny,
lore.
do you mean to tell me you've only been using one end of these beasts?
Do show watchers even know about the dragon horn? I think they might.
That's
not.
a double-barreled dragon right there.
For anyone who's lost by the dragon horn, here's the scoop. In the books, Euron spent years away from Greyjoy. Well, no. What is it? Euron spent years away from Greystone, the Iron Islands. Where is that place?
Yeah, the Iron
Let's
Islands.
just call it the Iron Islands because I
Iron
can't remember
Islands.
the actual seat of power.
All right, so he spent years away from the
Assault
Iron
throne.
Islands, and the theory is that he was looking for a horn that lets you control dragons. And in the book, they think he might have it, but he doesn't reveal it and say, "Look, this is a horn." So Kyle's referring to that horn that controls dragons that he may or may not have. But I
You know
guess
what would've fixed
it
it
would
for
have
me?
showed up by now.
Have me a scene with Euron and Cersei. Give me a whole episode of this. Let me tell you that. 30
I don't
minutes
give a
of this.
fuck about Euron.
Stick with me here. This is how you make that, and that's a problem, right? No one gives a fuck about Euron. I need a 30-minute scene where Euron is sitting in bed at post coitus with Cersei. He's
Okay.
fucked her, and she's like, "Tell me about your travels." And I need a flashback. And now Euron's got long hair. Go ahead and put a wig on him, shave his face. Let me buy him. This is long ago, and show me his travels in like a montage almost with his voiceover. I climbed the highest mountains and dove the lowest seas. I went to here and there and farther west than any man has ever dared sail, and that's where I found it. And
I've raped in each corner of this world.
Tell me a story. Like, build him up as a badass, right? Like I was listening to Kevin Smith talk about writing for Bruce Willis, and how like there's a character. Bruce Willis is like, no, this character's supposed to be a badass. We need to establish that here. Like when he steps into the room, you need to know this is a badass. Kind of like in Rambo. There's a scene in Rambo where like Rambo Rambo 2. I think that's Rambo. No, Rambo First Blood. I'm sorry, the first Rambo, where he's in the Northwest fighting the sheriff or whatever. Where like the colonel comes in, and the colonel's trying to explain to the sheriff who they've picked a fight with. You don't understand who you're dealing with. He's the best with guns, with knives, with his bare hands. In Vietnam, he was a jungle fighter, a guerrilla fighter, and he did his job well. No one's ever been as good. Like, he goes through this whole montage, this soliloquy, because the audience has never seen Rambo before. We know Stallone, he was Rocky, but is he really a guerrilla fighter? No, this colonel comes in, he lays it on thick, lets you know that no, you're dealing with the best of the best. We just dropped him in solo in the jungles of Nam, and he went ham, all right? If we'd had 10 Rambos, we'd be having fucking tea in North Vietnam right now, boys. You don't understand. And you're like, oh, well, shit. Well, buckle up. We're fucking, that's who Rambo is. I needed that for Euron. And if Euron had fucked the queen, and by the way, show me some more titties. I don't need, I know
The actors have gone too big time, right? They used to
They've all gone too big
You
time.
used to see pussy. Did you need to rewatch the scene of Danny fucking Carl. That's what I call him. Screw me. And her taking
the
a doggy
rape scene.
style. I think it's rape. It's their first night of marriage, maybe.
Yeah.
And
Well, he owns her. So.
That was rape.
I think she owned that rape. I don't know. It makes it anyway. If you watch her get a good dick in that scene, you'll be like, "Damn, Game of Thrones used to lay it down." Now we have a hint of butt cleavage, and
it's not
side
lady
boob.
butt cleavage. The most nudity I can remember is Jon Snow's ass last year.
I was talking about Arya's.
Well,
butt
who can
cleavage.
forget that?
Oh yeah.
You know,
Look.
You know, a
And-
good way for them to do it, like the Euron thing you're saying, like something that would win me back over is if there's a Hank Hill cameo, and he like berates Danny, where he's like, "God dang it, Danny, you could shoot that flame twice as far if you fueled your dragons with propane. I've got a lot of accessories. Now,
right.
why would you not forget?
we should
that those
probably
ships were
move
there?"
on. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we
I
can
think
we
the
can divert.
complaining's overdone
Dad.
about Game of Thrones.
But Dad, she didn't know those ships were there. God dang it, Bobby, it was in the previous scene.
I have a topic.
Those boats can hide in the rocks, Hank. You don't understand. They're
Dad, it's
invisible.
been established Euron's an excellent sailor. Oh, Bobby, I swear. You know, that would win the show back.
I need Dale's conspiracy theory about how.
Those boats were part of the Philadelphia experiment. It allows ships to be cloaked and virtually invisible.
Those boats were never even there.
I need that scene. But yeah, look,
Dude, I'm back on the Game of Thrones wagon if they got a bunch of King of the Hill cameos. I don't think they're gonna. I DM'd the directors of that show until they blocked me with these ideas.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I choose to believe that's true.
they do.
They didn't care for my crude artwork depicting the lesbian.
In
lesbian
crayon.
trio. Yeah,
Nancy, those boats were never there.
yeah. Slip John Redcorn in there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Come on. Oh,
Hell,
fuck you,
the
Game of
boats
Thrones.
were definitely there.